Which boxing match stands out as the most memorable in your life? Was it Ali versus Foreman, Tyson versus Holyfield, Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward, or another unforgettable fight? Today, I want to take you back and remind you of some legendary fights that every boxing fan should remember. Erik Morales versus Marco Barrera. The first fight between Erik Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera was an unforgettable clash that set the tone for one of boxing's greatest trilogies. It took place on February 19, 2000, at the Mandalay Bay Resort in Las Vegas, with both fighters putting their world titles on the line. The bout was intense from the start, with both men trading heavy punches in a display of skill and determination. The opening round was packed with action, as Barrera attacked with his signature combinations while Morales countered fiercely with powerful punches of his own. By the fifth round, the fight reached a dramatic peak. Morales unleashed a relentless attack, landing punch after punch and forcing Barrera to retreat. Just when it seemed Barrera might be overwhelmed, he responded with a stunning series of punches that turned the tide and electrified the crowd. The back-and-forth action kept fans on edge, and this round earned them the ring's Round of the Year award. The fight remained competitive throughout, with neither fighter backing down. In the final round, both men showed mutual respect by touching gloves but quickly resumed their fierce battle. The bout ended in a controversial split-decision victory for Morales, with scores of 115 to 112, 114 to 113, and 113 to 114. Many believed Barrera deserved the win, but the decision only fueled their rivalry. This fight marked the beginning of a legendary trilogy between Morales and Barrera. Their contrasting styles, Morales' aggressive power versus Barrera's technical precision, created thrilling matchups that captivated boxing fans worldwide, despite their animos. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler. Sugar Ray Leonard faced Marvin Hagler in a highly anticipated boxing match on April 6, 1987, at Caesars Palace in Nevada. Leonard had been mostly inactive for 5 years, fighting only once during that time, and had never competed at middleweight before. Hagler, the long-reigning middleweight champion, was the favorite to win. Many experts believed Leonard would struggle due to his long layoff and lack of experience at this weight class. However, Leonard surprised everyone with his performance. Before the fight, Leonard negotiated several conditions that favored his strategy. He insisted on a larger ring to allow more movement, heavier gloves to reduce power, and a 12-round fight instead of the usual 15 rounds preferred by Hagler. These changes played a significant role in how the match unfolded. The fight itself was dramatic and controversial. Hagler started in an orthodox stance instead of his usual southpaw style, which cost him the first 2 rounds on all judges' scorecards. As the fight progressed, Hagler switched back to his southpaw stance and became the aggressor, trying to pressure Leonard with his punches. Leonard, however, used a clever strategy of landing quick combinations and retreating to avoid prolonged exchanges. In the final moments of each round, Leonard would unleash flurries of punches to steal rounds on the scorecards. Statistically, Leonard landed 49% of his punches compared to Hagler's 37%, though Hagler threw more overall. Neither fighter came close to scoring a knockout. The judges' decision was split. One scored it narrowly for Hagler, 115 to 113, another narrowly for Leonard, 115 to 113, and the third gave Leonard a wide margin, 118 to 110. This final scorecard was widely criticized as being too lopsided. Leonard's victory was considered one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. While some felt Hagler deserved to win due to his aggression and status as champion, others argued Leonard's tactics and precision earned him the victory. The fight marked Hagler's last appearance in the ring, as he retired shortly afterward, frustrated by the outcome. For Leonard, this win cemented his legacy as one of boxing's greatest fighters, despite years away from active competition. Evander Holyfield versus Mike Tyson II. Evander Holyfield shocked the boxing world in November 1996 when he defeated Mike Tyson to win the WBA heavyweight title. Tyson was the favorite, but Holyfield controlled the fight and won by TKO in the 11th round. This victory set up a highly anticipated rematch between the two fighters at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas on June 28, 1997. Many of Tyson's fans believed Holyfield's first win was a fluke, but Holyfield proved them wrong. In the rematch, he used his jab effectively and dominated Tyson during exchanges. Tyson grew increasingly frustrated, particularly after complaining about headbutts from Holyfield that opened a cut above his eye. In the third round, Tyson shocked everyone by biting off part of Holyfield's right ear. The fight was briefly stopped but resumed until Tyson bit Holyfield's other ear. Referee Mills Lane disqualified Tyson, giving Holyfield another victory. The incident became one of the most infamous moments in boxing history. Tyson lost his boxing license and was fined $3 million. His license was reinstated over a year later, allowing him to continue his career, though he never regained his former dominance. Holyfield also continued fighting and eventually retired after a long career. Despite their rivalry, Tyson and Holyfield reconciled years later and even became friends. They appeared together publicly, with Tyson expressing regret for his actions and Holyfield forgiving him. Rocky Marciano versus Joe Walcott. The fight between Rocky Marciano and Jersey Joe Walcott on September 23, 1952, was one of the most dramatic and memorable moments in boxing history. Leading up to the match, Walcott, the reigning heavyweight champion, was confident he would defeat Marciano, whom he considered overhyped. Walcott even declared that if he lost, his name should be removed from boxing's record books. When the fight began, Walcott immediately showed his skill and power. In the first round, he knocked Marciano down with a sharp left hook, the first knockdown of Marciano's career. Marciano quickly got back up, but Walcott continued to dominate the early rounds with precise punches and clever boxing tactics. By the seventh round, Marciano was complaining that he couldn't see properly, possibly due to a solution used to stop bleeding getting into his eyes. Both fighters were bloodied and battered by this point. Despite being behind on all scorecards after 12 rounds, Marciano refused to give up. In the 13th round, he landed a devastating right hook that knocked Walcott out cold as he fell into the ropes. The punch was so powerful that Walcott couldn't recover, and Marciano claimed victory by knockout, becoming the new heavyweight champion of the world. This fight cemented Marciano's reputation as one of boxing's toughest and most determined fighters. Carmen Basilio versus Tony DeMarco II. The rematch between Carmen Basilio and Tony DeMarco on November 30, 1955 at Boston Garden was a thrilling and brutal fight. Their first match earlier that year had seen Basilio win DeMarco's welterweight titles, including the NYSAC, NBA, and Ring Championships. DeMarco was determined to reclaim his titles in front of his hometown crowd. DeMarco started strong, winning the opening round with sharp punches that rattled Basilio. In the second round, Basilio broke his left hand while fighting aggressively. Despite this injury, he continued to battle using his right hand, but DeMarco gained momentum in the middle rounds, landing heavy punches and staggering Basilio multiple times. By the 8th round, DeMarco was ahead on all scorecards, and it seemed he was on his way to victory. However, Basilio's resilience turned the tide. He shifted his focus to attacking DeMarco's body in the later rounds, wearing him down. By the 11th round, Basilio regained control as DeMarco began to slow from exhaustion. In the 12th round, Basilio unleashed a series of powerful punches that sent DeMarco to the canvas twice. The referee stopped the fight after DeMarco could no longer defend himself, giving Basilio another TKO victory at 1:54 of the final round. Just 2 seconds later than their first fight's ending.